Hey everybody, this is Mark Dannenberg with Options Moneymaker. This is the Q&A session for Wednesday, August 12th, 2020. I have Aaron Rumley and Michael Kastner here this evening. Hear from them later. We got a couple things we're going to chat about. So let's go ahead and get started. The whole purpose of this Q&A session is to carve out time twice a month for each of you as members of our community to identify things that you want to chat about, things you need a little clarification on, things you want to ask to gain a greater level of understanding on your trading business. This is all about what we say is learn to trade and then trade to earn. If you don't learn first, you're going to struggle trading to earn. So the topics that we cover in our Q&A are all about the adaptive entry system. That's by New Cycle Trading and Analytics. But we do the exclusive training for New Cycle Trading, and we trade the adaptive entry system in our live trading room. Awesome system, and something that I think every trader needs to take advantage of. The Profit Sweet Spot Matrix, this is a tool that we've been building now for over a year and a half, and it really is designed to track the performance of the Cycle Finder Plus, what we refer to as daily crosses. So each time we have a cross of the lead line and the basis line on the Cycle Finder Plus on a daily chart on our watch list of stocks, we announce that in the live trading room, let people know that there is a opportunity to buy to open a call, buy to open a put, and then we track those trades and we track the performance of those trades so that we have a good projection as to when we should exit the trade. It's all based on historical data, so we can set a reasonable win-loss ratio, and then it'll look back in history and tell us how many points of movement should we expect in order to achieve, say, an 80% win-loss. And I'm going to share some of the results that we have been tracking with the Profit Sweet Spot Matrix and the Cycle Finder Plus crosses. Live trading room, that's designed for real-time trading and support. Michael Kastner is the kind of the lead host of the live trading room. And we trade, as I mentioned, the adaptive entry system. We help clients understand the signals, how to interpret the signals. They're really pretty easy to understand, but there are some fine-tuning nuances, especially for newer traders. But in addition to that, Michael, mostly provides very specific information around where we are in certain wave patterns. These are historically based wave patterns that repeat themselves time and time and time again, and we can identify certain price levels that we expect the index or a stock that we're looking at move to. So it's extremely important and valuable information when you're trading and you want to optimize your return. Profit Builder Plus is designed for options education. If you are looking for a way to learn more about options, whether you're brand new to options or whether you have some experience and just need a refresher, it's a great multi-session course that's available on demand for you to learn all about options education. And then we also provide futures trading education. You know, futures trading, when it comes right down to it, is very simple. The complexity of it is the perception that it is highly risky and you can lose a whole ton of money just trading futures. Well, this is all about learning the risk and reward of futures and how to manage that. You will go through periods of time where you will have losses on individual positions, losses on days, but I'm going to show you a tool that if you're not already using will help you see where those losses fit into the big picture. I also provide a limited amount of one-on-one coaching if you're interested in immersing yourself in learning how to properly trade the adaptive entry system, how to trade the Cycle Finder Plus crosses, Profit Builder Plus for options education and futures education. Anything that you are interested in learning regarding trading, you can just reach out to us here at Options Moneymaker and inquire about a training, a one-on-one coaching session. New Cycle Trading, who is our partner in helping traders, has a forum where you can go post comments, you can post information, you can post questions, and you can find that at traders.newcycletrading.com. And it's an opportunity to interact with some other traders if you choose to do that. So here's a little bit about what we've been tracking. Now, I want to preface this by saying that trading has so many different variables to it. So you can trade futures, you can trade options. Within options, you can trade just buying calls, buying puts, trading spreads. You can trade calendar spreads, diagonal spreads, vertical spreads, debit spreads, credit spreads. There's all sorts of different variations to trading. And depending on what you want to trade, meaning do you want to trade on stocks, do you want to trade on ETFs, there's so many variables. So what we do is we present to you kind of a fixed number of variables that we track. They are not intended to imply that trading is limited to only those. We're providing them to help you understand how effective the tools are and how to understand how to use the tools, and then you can apply those to whatever you choose. So the daily crosses, when we refer to that, is the Cycle Finder Plus indicator. It's all part of the adaptive entry system. And it's when we have a crossover of the lead and the basis line on the daily chart. So Erin monitors the daily chart for about 45 minutes before market open. And she assesses what the pre-market activity is on those stocks and can assess where the Cycle Finder Plus may likely open and whether it's likely that we might have a cross. And if we do have a cross, then we communicate that to the live trading room, and it's up to you to decide if you want to buy to open a call, buy to open a put. But we have a very fixed watch list of stocks and indexes that we've been tracking since January of 2019. And it gives us information to understand approximately how much each stock is intending to move. If we want an 80% win rate, which is typically what we default to, we know historically how much that stock is going to move. And then we can equate that to whatever option delta that we're trading and open the trade and place a good till canceled order to close the trade at that set profit target and then walk away. So we've been tracking this very closely in live trading room since February 24th. That's when we really that's really when we launched it in terms of tracking the daily performance of it. Prior to that, we had been gathering a lot of historical data, trading it on our own, and recording that data to comprise the profit sweet spot matrix. So from February 24th through today, we've executed 247 daily crosses. Now that's on a watch list of 5 stocks and 2 indexes. And of those 247 daily crosses, 214 of them have resulted in a profit. 33 of them have resulted in a loss. And that it results in an 86.6% win-loss ratio. So we're pretty happy with that as a win-loss ratio. And in addition to that, we're pretty happy that the average daily profit, if you only traded one contract on each of these 247 opportunities, the average daily profit is $251.70. And there are a lot of variables with options. You can trade, 50 deltas, 10 deltas, 30 deltas. So we kind of draw a line and say, listen, we're going to present this in a conservative way and say that if you traded a 30 delta, which is an out of the money option, traded one contract, and if you'd taken every one of the trades since February 24th, it averages about $251.70 a day. Now, the really cool thing about that is you can use a higher delta, you could use a lower delta, you could use more contracts, but even if you were to trade a 30 delta with one contract, you you can listen in to the live trading room, identify where the cross is, or you can monitor it on your own charts. You open the position, you set your good till canceled order to close it, and you're done for the day. That's it. So that's $251 per day of about 5, maybe 10 minutes of your time every day. So I think that that's pretty powerful, and we're really happy with the results of the daily cross. The other thing we track is the adaptive entry system overall performance. And what we're looking at is from July 6th to August 12th, and we're looking at the NASDAQ 100 futures. Now, why do we look at only July 6th to August 12th? That's because the adaptive entry system is the second generation of, actually it's well, I'll just say it's the newest generation of market metric software that was created by New Cycle Trading and Analytics. And it was approximately July 6th when we announced it and released it to be viewed in the live trading room, and started showing the profit performance of the signals that comprise the adaptive entry system and what that result was at the end of the day. And it was about that time that at the end of the day I started translating those results into a personal trading plan, and I'm going to show you that here in just a minute. I'm just kind of giving you a lead in because I want you to understand that there are some really important key parts to your being successful, and some of the questions that you may have will revolve around this information. So there are two categories we trade. There's a variety of ways you can trade the adaptive entry system. We track performance from 9:30 to noon, so people who want to have a limited amount of trading time. And that assumes that they take all of the signals. Now, there are really 4 different signals that comprise the adaptive entry system. Assuming you take all 4 of the signals, that's a trend bias, a continuation, a momentum trade, and a consensus trade. We're averaging for that period of time over 18 points a day on NQ. That's the NASDAQ 100 futures, and it's $20 per point. So the average profit per day, if you assumed one contract, is $363.80. That's the average profit per day if you assume one contract. When you plug it into the personal trading plan and you allow the plan to scale the number of contracts that you trade based on your account growth, the 12-month profit or income projection is $234,000, just over that, just over $234,000. That right there, the combination of the adaptive entry system and plugging it into your personal trading plan every day, is the very foundation of being a successful trader. Now, the other category we trade is a little longer, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it assumes that you're only trading the trend within the adaptive entry system. So that would be the trend bias plus entry in addition to the continuation entries. Averaging 24.3 points per day at $20 a point. That's $486 on one contract. The personal trading plan projects a 12-month income forecast based on that run rate of just under $269,000. So I'm going to just show you one last thing here, and then we'll start grabbing your questions. This, if you're not familiar with this is the personal trading plan. So if this was your personal trading plan, your name goes here. I'm not going to teach all aspects of it right now and exactly how to use it, but I want to summarize a couple of key things. This number right here is telling us what we're actually averaging, because at the end of every day, we record our profits and our losses. And they're highlighted in blue. Everything else is future, what may happen. We don't know what will happen, but we're going to use the actual performance results to forecast the future. So we know that we're averaging 24.33 points a day. So what I'm going to do, and that's a combination of profit and loss, what I'm going to do is to assume going forward that my profit's going to be 25 points a day, and that's 4 days a week, and that my losses are 15.4 points per loss, and that's 1 day a week. So we assume going forward that we're going to have 1 losing day every week. And we assume we're going to have 4 losing days every week. Now, it might not be exactly that way. You might have weeks where you have no losses. You might have other weeks where you have 2 or 3 losses. It really doesn't matter. What you're doing is you're planning something that is reasonably connected to what your actual performance has been. And then this is the key right here. We start with $5,000 and we instruct through our tool here that we will not allocate more than 10% of our account balance to contracts. You need $500 per contract. So we start with 1 contract. And when our account size grows to a point where $500 per contract, trading 2 contracts would be no more than 10% of our account balance, the personal trading plan is going to automatically scale the number of contracts for you. Now, it will not stop scaling unless you put a limit in here. And for our purposes to demonstrate the use of this, we've been limiting it to 3 contracts. So I'll summarize here. If we're averaging 24.33 points a day actual, and future forecast assumes 4 days a week averaging 25 points a day, and 1 day a week on an average losing 15.4 points a day, and we max out at 3 contracts, we could potentially have an income over the course of 12 months of $269,000. I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to make that kind of money. It might be more, it might be less. It will all depend on what your actual performance is. But every day, when you plug in your actual performance, you come back up here and you tweak your loss and your profit future projections. Once you've tweaked those and they are aligned with what your actual run rate is, and once you know what you want to max your contracts out at, you have a reasonable and realistic income forecast. So that's what we've been doing every day in the live trading room at the end of the day. And if you're interested in hearing more about that, you can go to newcycletrading.com/trade results. I do a review of our performance every day, show the details, plug it into the trading plan, show how to tweak the trading plan, and we record those and they're posted on the New Cycle Trading website at newcycletrading.com/trade-results. So we believe very firmly that the adaptive entry system is the right way to trade. We believe very, very firmly that if you don't invest 5-10 minutes at the end of every day plugging those results into your trading plan, that you will have no idea where you stand. We want you to understand that a losing day can factor into your trading plan and kind of smooth out some of those edges of feeling emotional and feeling bad because you had a bad day. So that's kind of a summary of where we are and what we are prioritizing. This is really all about any of you trading your own personal trading business, and of course anybody that would like to is welcome to join us in the live trading room. We talk all day long about the systems, about the signals, about how to achieve results, and we provide a ton of information to help you be a better trader. So let's go ahead and open it up to questions.
Mark, Bob's asking, when placing consensus, momentum, or continuation trades, when they're placed, is it as soon as it prints, or do we place the trade as soon as the signal shows up? Does it need to be in the first 3 seconds?
So Bob, our rule for using the adaptive entry system is, and I'm going to pull up a chart here. our rule is when the signal comes on, we want to only take the signals that come on in the first 3 seconds of the open of the bar. So I'm not going to explain the signals here right now, but for example, here is a signal that came on. It's a trend signal to go short, and it came on at 19:05 and 00 seconds. Here is a signal to go short that's a momentum signal, and it came on at 18:48 and 6 seconds. Well, that's about 3 minutes into the 5-minute bar, so that's not a valid signal. Here's one that came on at 18:30 and 9 seconds. Our line in the sand is within the first 3 seconds of the open of the 5-minute bar. That's when we're taking the trade.
Bill's asking, since the trading room doesn't open till 9 a.m. and we can't trade without you until then, can we track from 9 to 4? So Bill, during Mark's review, he actually shows on the tracking spreadsheet the 9 a.m. to 4 p or 9:30 to 4 performance for the day. So you can go through and look at each of the recordings, and on you can see exactly what the performance is from 9:30 to 4 each day for the all signal. So he's really just missing the 30 minutes extra that you're asking for. But again, he also does a great job of pausing a little bit on each day to show you the performance, the trades for each day. And you absolutely can trade without us before then, as long as you have your own adaptive entry system and you've taken the training and you feel confident, you've done your time trading sim, you can absolutely trade without us until we open up the live trading room.
Zach, there it is. Zach's asking, great record, Mark. Can you talk about the total dollar amount of wins and losses? Just trying to get a sense for the loss magnitude since no stop losses things.
I don't have that information readily available. I don't know if Erin has it at her fingertips, but that's so that might be something that you want to take a look at, and we'll see what we can do about that. But to me, Zach, that's really not the most important number, because people get too preoccupied with the range of the dollars. Okay, now if you're looking at it because you want to make sure that you can manage, a series of losses, that's fine. I understand that. But what we are really focused on is averages. And the reason the averages are important is because I've worked with so many traders over the years who just quit and give up because they've had 2 or 3 losing days, they've had a week of losing, and it doesn't make them feel very good, and they don't have any perspective of where those losses fit into their overall picture. So we provide 2 things. We provide the personal trading plan so that you can, every day, setting aside your emotion, plug in your performance, whether it would be interpreted as good or bad. By the way, Shakespeare said, nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So for now, we want to set aside the thinking that it's good or bad, and we just want to unemotionally plug it into our trading plan. And we want to see where that fits into our run rate. Okay, so that's tool number 1. Second thing is, as I look across the averages, and now especially with the Cycle Finder Plus daily crosses, we have over 1.5 years of data. Yeah, there are ranges in there. I mean, we've got days, our individual trades that had some sizable losses to them. But when you look back over that period of time, and then you look back at your averages, it is more telling to me than those individual days, because if I stay the course and I've funded myself properly and I've been wise about my allocation, then I should be able to manage my way through. Now, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that starting February 4th, we have been through one of the most interesting market moves that I think we've ever seen in history. First of all, one of the most unprecedented sell-offs we've ever seen in a short period of time, and then one of the most amazing and kind of unbelievable recoveries. So if you were trading options during those times, it's not at all surprising that you might have gotten whipsawed a bit unless you had a specific criteria like the daily crosses. So, to be honest, we got whipsawed a little bit, and we're still okay on those cycle finder daily crosses. We for a while retreated to futures because they were a little bit more manageable, and worked through managing some of the options that we had out there. But I hope I answered your question, Zach. I know I didn't give you that specific information that you're looking for, but we're focused more on the big picture view and the averages, because that's ultimately what's going to drive the growth of our account.
Jack is asking, which browser are you using for the TradingView charts? If I'm trading on my PC, if I have my charts up on the PC, I have whatever the default is. I think they call it now Microsoft Edge. Mark, Michael, what do you browse or use as a web browser?
I'm going to speak to that. I'm going to change it to, just a little bit, Jack. So I use Google, but I also had Microsoft Edge that I was running. But when I run my speed test, Microsoft Edge was slower than Google until I upgraded Microsoft Edge. I just did that this week, and I got an alert or something that said to upgrade it. Now I upgraded it. Now both of them are the same speed as when I run a speed test. So I don't know if that helps you or not, but it sure helped me because it really, really made them both sync because I use both of them. So
yeah, that's a good point. If your web browser is out of date,
yes,
that could slow it down.
Yes, and you can do, if you, all depends on what internet service you use, but I use Xfinity, and it's Xfinity Speed Test.net or something like that. You can do it and see, but just when you do check it, make sure you're testing your computer, not just the there's a you can click on test my computer, what I'm trying to say, and that gets the most definite quickest return. So there you go.
I just want to touch on one last thing. I think I've talked about it enough, but I want to emphasize it very clearly. David's so kind to remind me that I was talking about this in the live trading room today with one of our members, a couple of our members. And here's a very harsh reality, folks. If you are, say, in the newer phase of exploring trading or learning trading, and maybe you've just started your live trading, and you ran into a day or a series of days that just didn't work out for you, that doesn't mean that you're a bad trader, and it doesn't mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that the signals don't work. It just means that there is more refinement in your application of those signals. So the adaptive entry system is a pretty simple set of signals, but there is a little bit of an art to trading them. And once you get it, I think it flows pretty smoothly. I want to just say again that the personal trading plan is more than just a financial forecast. It is designed, Erin and I specifically designed it and created it, and kudos to her for all the work and automation she put into that tool, but it is designed specifically to help quiet the emotional demons that can exist in trading. We had somebody today who was feeling very frustrated, couldn't seem to get his results aligned with what we were actually seeing in real time in the live trading room. And yet, if you plug your results into the personal trading plan, even if it was what you might define as a bad day, you can see where that day fits into a 12-month perspective. And I will just say that, well, once you kind of get into a flow, once you do that and get accustomed to using that as your basis for assessing your personal trading, I don't really care if you had a bad day today trading. I mean, I do, but I'm emphasizing the point that if you had a bad day trading, plug it into your trading plan. And if it means that your 12-month forecast using 3 contracts is 240,000 instead of 280,000, well, adjust the number of contracts as your max. There's all sorts of ways to use that tool. It is designed to quiet the fear and emotion. There is the fear of missing out, so you take trades that you shouldn't have taken. And then there is the fear of losing, so you start doing things that you never should have done that did not allow that trade to produce the profit that you desired. So the personal trading plan, to me, is second only to the adaptive entry system. And if you have those 2 tools plus the profit sweet spot matrix, you really have a very strong tool set that is capable of helping to guide you to success. Thank you, David, for reminding me on that.
Timothy is saying, I bought the adaptive entry system subscription. How do I open the programmer window? So as soon as you provide your TradingView username to New Cycle Trading, which there's a link in your welcome email after you purchased, you need to send them your TradingView username via that link so that they can give you access. They need the TradingView username in order to give you access. Just make sure the username you're providing is not your email address and that it is case sensitive. It's exactly your username as it appears in TradingView, and then usually 1 to 2 business days after they receive your TradingView username, they add you to the adaptive entry system and the profit flow analytics system, and you'll receive an email of exactly how to install onto your computer to have it look exactly like the chart Mark is showing right now. And if you have any questions, you can always send them an email at charts. I'm going to type it to you, charts@newcycletrading.com.
Mark, Bruce asking, are you posting the results now, including, are your posted results now including continuation crosses?
The continuation trades started being included this week. The tracking tool that we're using has continued to evolve, again, thanks to Aaron. And I continue to see ways to expand our tracking. So the purpose of the tracking is for us ultimately to work with Craig at New Cycle Trading and understand where the optimum performance is. We have an amazing system, but there's always ways to continue to optimize that. So this week we started including the continuation trades in the tracking because we taught the continuation trades as part of the rollout of the adaptive entry system, and we taught it as part of the futures trading education course.
Timothy's asking, I downloaded the performance tracking spreadsheet, but it doesn't seem to be the one you're using now. Where can I download the newest version?
Aaron,
the tracking spreadsheet is not available. The one that Mark, that's a trading plan. So depending on if you're talking about the tracking spreadsheet that we're showing right now, this is not available yet. It is still a little bit of a work in progress with the automation, and so we'll let you know if it becomes available in the future. But if you're talking about the trading plan, and you have purchased the trading plan but you don't have the most recent version, just send Dorothy an email. There was an email that was sent out with a way to download it. Again, this is for the trading plan, not the performance tracking that Mark also has.
We haven't talked yet about rolling out the performance tracking plan. Right now, it is for our internal use. We're tracking a lot of data. We're continuing to evaluate it in a variety of ways. We're working with Craig. We have some designs, some thoughts. I don't know if Craig's here tonight, so I might be talking out of school, but we have some thoughts and designs about hoping down the road, several months down the road, maybe creating an auto trading feature. Well, this tracking tool is going to help us understand where we want to focus our auto trading time and effort, what's the most productive. And we track it every day, and I share this every single day at the end of the live trading room. This is like full disclosure, full transparency. Here you go, this is what I see. And there have been people who have said, I wasn't sure about that trade, this is what I resulted on that trade. And I'll go back and I'll take a look at it and just make sure that we have it recorded properly, but we're summarizing it, and we show the averages as I showed you. Whenever I have another thought about adding something to the spreadsheet, I have to first of all send Erin flowers, and then send her.
I haven't gotten any yet.
Oh, you haven't got them, and you've still done
No.
the work. Oh God, I can cancel all those orders then. She's done a fantastic job of helping to create a tool that, much like the PSSM going forward, is going to really focus us on future services to help you, future opportunities to isolate specific categories of trades.
Bill's asking, do we put a stop loss on the daily cross, Cycle Finder Plus cross trades? You can, but that's not what our historical data is based on, which is what is all in the profit sweet spot matrix. That is all based on entering at 9:30 if there is a new cross, and setting a closing order based on the sweet spot, based on your desired win rate, and holding the position until either that closing order is hit or until you have a reversal entry, which would be at 9:30 on another day where the Cycle Finder Plus is crossed the opposite direction.
Bill's asking, are you still using an 80-40 bracket and tightening stop by 10 points if signal disappears? And that's 80 tick, 40 tick bracket.
Yeah, that's where I start out. And what we've been seeing, we saw it last week, or 3 to 4 days. We saw that it was important for us to start locking in profits and not just holding and waiting for the 10 points of profit or the 40 ticks. This week, today in particular, yesterday was really nice too. We haven't had to do that as much. Still just reminding people that, there's nothing wrong with locking in 5 points when you have 6 or 7 points of profit, because then you take the trade from a speculative trade to a guaranteed no risk trade. So yeah, still always starting out with those parameters. Nothing has changed about that. And there's a follow-up, if I could just say, Bruce is saying, if you make any adjustments to the trading rules, probably including those settings, will you send an email to those of us using AES without the live trading room? Probably will be very rare that we would change the rules, and it would be done more in the way of a rollout of a modified entry methodology, and we would either do that as a separate rollout, or we would cover it here in one of the Q&As.
Kenneth's asking, does your spreadsheet for trades taken between 9:30 to close include signals that come at the open, and how do you feel about trading during the first 15 minutes?
I don't really filter out the first 15 minutes emotionally. If the signal is there, I take the signal. And sometimes the signal wins and sometimes it doesn't. Today we had a trend signal that came on at 9:35 and gave us almost an immediate 10 points of profit. If you were holding for 30 points or 20 points, it gave that profit too. It actually ultimately ran the full cycle 154 points. So, and there are other days where you might have a loss on that first trade of the day. It can be a wild time, and if it makes you uncomfortable, stay out, but we don't filter out those.
asking, when trading the aftermarket hours, when the market is slow, do you adjust your profit target?
I don't adjust my profit target. I did not adjust my profit target last week. I want to be really clear about this. To me, there is a difference between adjusting your profit target and locking in a profit when you have it. So last week, what we saw is that the signals were good, but we were not seeing the follow through. We were not seeing the price follow through. It was very choppy. It wasn't getting to 10 points, but it was almost always getting to 5, 6, 7, 8 points. We had some that got to 9 points and never went to 10. So I don't adjust my profit target, because then that leads to the question everybody wants to ask, well, are you going to adjust your stop, protective stop too? I don't adjust my profit target. I'm still looking for 10 points. But if I have an opportunity on a choppy day to lock in 5 points, that's what I do. And that way I'm converting a risk trade to a no risk trade. And if it keeps going to 10, well, then so be it. But if it stops me out at 5, at least I took 5 points of profit.
Let's see, Michael's asking, I do a lot better with sim trading than I do with live trading. I think I might be too conservative with my manual stop loss when trading live. I start out with an 80 tick stop, but often reduce it depending on the price action. Any advice for trying to transition from sim to live without being too stingy? When the stop changes, maybe I should leave the stop at 80 more often.
Well, so what's interesting about that is you have a different style of trading for sim trading. You have to have a different style of trading, because when you shift to live trading, you're not doing as well. Your performance is not the same. Now, I realize there's different days. I realize all that. But if you are sim trading and feeling confident with what you're doing, then transitioning to live trading ought to allow you to feel confident also. And maybe it's too early for you to transition to live trading. But one of the hardest things is, and I don't think this is hard, I think it's just one of the hardest things about the adaptive entry system, which is super simple, is kind of that art of when should I adjust my stop? And then it's understanding the proper way to adjust your stop. So if you have a signal that comes on and tells you to go short, and you go short on that futures trade, and a minute into the signal, into a 5-minute signal, the signal goes away. It disappears like it didn't exist before. What do you want to do? You can pull your stop in. You can cut your stop, your risk loss in half from 20 to 10 points. You can also look at adjacent fractals. You can look at adjacent divergent bars and use those as a guide. So one of the first things I do when I open a trade with a 20-point risk is I'm in the trade and I look to see whether or not there is a fractal where I could set my stop at something less than 20 points. Because I know that historically, if the price breaks through a fractal, it has a high probability of continuing to move. Or if there's a divergent bar, if I'm going short and there's a bearish divergent bar near me, I know that if the price breaks above the top of that bearish divergent bar, there's an increased probability that we're going to continue to move higher. So I look for divergent bars. I talk about this in the live trading room. I look for fractals. And if either of those can be used as a stop to reduce my total 20 points of risk, I am willing to do that. The toughest part of this is getting used to the fact that there are going to just be some trades that you adjust your stop on because you think that the signal went away, and then you get stopped out for maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 8, 10 points, and then the trade turns around and you now see in hindsight that it would have been profitable. That's very frustrating. And the best thing to do when that happens is forget you ever had that trade, move forward, take the next signal. Because there are always going to be more signals. Always. I don't, let's see, let me go back to today. Today, if I just go back to early this morning, okay, we had 3 signals after 9, the first 3 signals after 9:30 today. We made 10 points, we lost 20 points, we lost 11.5 points. Oh my God, what am I doing? Why am I still trading? That's discouraging. But you know what? It's just part of the nature of trading. So then we continue to trade, we win, we have a few more losses, and at the end of the day, up until 12 o'clock, the daily summary, 9:30 to noon, we ended up with 12.75 points positive at $20 a point. That's $255, and that's not bad for a day where we started out with being underwater on the net of the first 3 trades.
You still with me, Mark?
I am.
Oh, okay. I thought you cut off in the
No.
mid sentence there. Okay, so you
No.
you stopped then. Okay.
Harsh asked how much are the fees for using the tools and services. I won't go through all of them right here, Harsh, but I put this link up here on the slide. If you go to optionsmoneymaker.com/TBP, that will answer all the questions you have.
Mark, I'm going to just make this statement. So there's several questions tonight about, the stop being 80 ticks, whatever. If you got the charting system, do the research yourself, and you go back and look each day, and I said, okay, if I used a 40 tick trigger for $2 risk, I would have made this much, but I wouldn't. But you just got to do the research yourself. I spent many nights when we had a business staying up to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning trying to decide what we're going to do in our business. It's the same thing. Just go back and look and say, okay, just like I said, just because we say to use 80 ticks doesn't mean that but it should fit you. Just do the research yourself. And if you're okay getting stopped out for a 40 tick loss 3 or 4 times in the morning, or maybe not, then you make that own decision because it's your money, not ours. So you have to be comfortable.
Yeah, there is a certain amount of, you got to invest some time in this, but I will say we've invested countless hours in research on trades, and we've determined that kind of the sweet spot of a protective stop is 20 points when using the adaptive entry system. And what that means is if it hits 20, it almost never comes back, almost. So if it hits 20, well, then that's a trade that's not going to work out for you. I've had trades that have hit 19.5 points of drawdown and then turns around, ends up giving me 5 or 10 points of profit. Okay, that's just the way it works. But also, I think in the bigger picture here, everybody is usually preoccupied with their stop. So the whole mindset is, how can I not lose? Instead of, how do I win? And that's a very different mindset. And the how do I win mindset is all about sim trading your signals and finding your own harmony with those signals, meaning, do I want to trade just the trend bias? Do I want to trade the trend bias and continuation? Do I want to trade all the signals? Heck, maybe I only want to trade consensus signals. There's all sorts of combinations. Once you find that sweet spot, you're going to then develop your own personal level of trust in the signals. So deciding what your stop should be, when should I adjust my stop, and how much should I adjust my stop, is more about developing a level of confidence and trust in the signals than it is where your stop should be. Because if I have a trade that has moved against me 15 points, but nothing has changed on the signal, I can scan everything going on. I see that nothing on the chart has told me to take any different action, then I'm going to stay with the trade. And if I end up getting stopped out at 20 points of loss, well, then so be it. That's what happens because the chart didn't tell me that there was any reason for me to change. But if I'm 15 points behind on a trade and I see that the chart is suggesting that maybe this trade isn't going to work out, well, I'm already 5 points away from my ultimate stop. I might leave it there. But if I was 8 points behind or 10 points behind on a trade, and I see the chart suggesting that maybe the signal's not quite as strong as I thought it was, I might pull my stop in to 10 points, or I might pull my stop into 15 points. Don't be so trigger happy, though, to adjust your stop that you hurt yourself out of fear. And the key method, I think, for attempting to overcome that fear, working to overcome that fear, is getting so intimately familiar with your signals that you have tremendous trust in the signals. And if you don't have trust in a particular signal, don't ever trade that signal. I mean, it really is that simple. We have a lot of people who only trade the trend, and now I think are starting to trade the continuation because we've taught it, and we're starting to help you understand where to insert that. So I hope that makes sense.
Christian's asking, when taking fractal trades, I like to use the 5 point with a 2 tick trigger. Do you keep your stops still at 20 on fractal trades, or where do you adjust your stop or continuation trades? On continuation trades also.
Yeah, so I have two answers to that, Christian. One is I always leave my protected stop at 20 and my profit target at 10. Once the trade is open, I might make adjustments. So here's how I might make an adjustment. The example I just gave, the signal doesn't look that good. It's not moving. We're into the fifth 5-minute bar, and I still don't have a profit, but still haven't been stopped out. I'm going to probably tighten things up a little bit and make sure that I'm not leaving myself exposed. But the second thing is, Michael does such an outstanding job of identifying where we are in an overall wave pattern in the market and identifying price targets. So as an example, I open a short trade. I've got a 10-point profit target, and Michael's saying, well, we have to go to this particular price point in order to satisfy the pattern, okay? That's something I have a lot of confidence in. And if that number to satisfy the pattern was 50 points out of the money, well, I may then adjust my profit target from 10 to 30, or I might adjust it to 40. And then as we move towards that target, I'm going to still lock in. So the first lock in would be 10 points. And then if we get to 15 or 20 points, I'm going to lock in another few points. And I may never actually end up holding it for that 30-point profit number, that 40-point profit number. But in most all of those example cases, I end up doing 5 to 15 points more than I would have gotten if I had just left it at 10. I'm still going to lock in 10 because that's what I wanted in the first place. But if it keeps going, that's great. I'm going to continue to lock in. Michael C is asking, would you leave your 80 tick stop unless the chart says not to? Exactly. Let the chart tell you what to do. You have to learn to interpret the chart, and we help you do that in the live trading room. I will talk sometimes endlessly in the live trading room about individual patterns and things to consider. That's not specific to that trade, although you can use it for that trade, but it's more to help educate you on the big picture value of what's going on.
Okay, let's see. Got that one. Well, will you include your extra profits you just spoke about in the posted results? Bruce
No. Bruce, no. What I'm trying to do in tracking the performance is present what I consider to be a conservative number. And so if we were to automate any of this and automated trading, we have a reasonable expectation that whatever we produce is going to be hopefully better than what we've tracked. So if I personally produce 20 points of profit on a trade because I used the information that Michael provided, I still post that trade in the performance as 10 points. Because we don't have in the tracking a Michael component. If we automate a Michael component, then we might have a different view, might have a different way of tracking that. But I'm trying to track conservatively. You know, if I open a trade and it moves 7 points and I lock in 5, comes back and takes me out at 5 and then immediately moves to 10, I'm logging that as a 5-point profit. I'm trading a lot of these trades live. I don't trade 100% of all of the trades all day long from 7 to 4 live, but I am live in front of the trade and I'm monitoring exactly what's happening with it. So I'm trying to present the realistic and conservative perspective of what this system is capable of. I don't see any other questions out there, but Michael, there was one thing I wanted to ask you to maybe help me with here. You here?
Yes, sir. I was just thinking about, you said the Michael's profits, and we'll patent that because my wife is working on that.
Oh my God. Okay.
I just put that out there. It's recorded on. Yeah, you're recording it. Good. I got proof now.
I
Go
deny
ahead.
everything Michael Kastner says.
Go ahead.
So folks, I just wanted to show this to you. Michael actually brought this up in the live trading room. I think it was last week. This is the NASDAQ 100 cash index, and it's a daily chart. And it shows the adaptive entry system. I won't scroll back, too much, but you can see, we are coming off of a very, very strong rise in the market, and then what happened? Boom. We have a pandemic. Businesses across the country shut down. Millions of people unemployed. Devastating impact to the market. Boom. We dropped like a rock here. Which, by the way, the signal to go short on this happened on February 25th on the NASDAQ 100. That's the first signal to go short that would have been valid. And so you would have gone short at 9167, 9,167. And it went all the way down to a low of 67.71. That was a big move. That wasn't expected. I mean, if you read any analyst, it was all unprecedented. That's the word that was used over and over again, unprecedented. I also think what was unprecedented is, and I probably read 50 different analyst opinions when all of this happened. There were those that were saying, oh, there's no way we'll have a V recovery, be a W recovery. There's no way, it's going to be years before we recover. Well, here you go. Okay, boom. This is where we were, that we thought was a lofty level before pandemic sell. And you can see where we are. We are miles ahead of that now. Nobody ever thought that this was going to happen to this degree or anticipated it, maybe. And nobody thought that we were going to have the degree of the recovery that we've had. So now we're into this analysis that Michael does. And basically, it's a non-emotional, here's a wave pattern, and here's what has to happen in order for the wave pattern to be valid. So Michael, what do you see coming next? Michael?
I'm still here. You hear, Mark? You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's on the phone with my lawyer. Anyway, but when we finish, and I think we're getting very close, we've already started to see a pullback, we will retrace 382 to 618. No doubt in my mind.
So,
we're going to retrace, and we're going to pull back. How many points that is, I can't see your chart, but
yeah, 618 is about 9,046.
Yes. Yes.
We closed today at what did we close at?
11 and change.
Yeah, we closed today at 11,157.
Mhm.
So 618 is, well, 382
Yeah, it's
is
9,900.
99.18.
Yeah. But say if it only pulls back 25%, what is that? I mean, that's still a huge move down. It's 10,430.
10,000. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, it's
1,000 points.
1,000 points. It's going to pull back. You just wait and watch. It's going to do it. It has to. If
See,
it's finished going, I mean, wherever it stops, and it's already shown some weakness the last couple, 3 days.
oh yeah, it's been
It-
wonderful. It's been beautiful.
Yeah, it's already showed some weakness, breaking back into the averages. So,
Okay, so
it,
Michael, close your ears here, everybody. What I love about what Michael says is when he says, oh yeah, it has to go there to satisfy the pattern. And the number of times that we've seen those types of moves happen right to the exact target. So I'm not saying, we're not predicting anything here. We're just saying, in order to satisfy the pattern that Michael has interpreted, we got to drop a couple thousand points. So what's going to trigger that, Michael?
something's going to trigger it, but but you heard it here first.
Exactly.
It's all technical. It's a technical move.
Mm-hmm.
It's going. It might. This is a daily chart. It might take it 2 or 3 months to happen. Maybe not. I don't know.
You never know what's on the horizon, but I know that the financial media talking heads will talk about what caused it. And you can come back to this recording August 12th, and you can listen to Michael Kastner saying, well, here you go. A 382 retracement would take us from 11,157 down to maybe around 9,900. Or a 618 retracement would take us down to 9,000. Those are big moves. But then here's the really exciting part. What happens after that, Michael?
We go right back up.
And we would have to take out the high.
Got to take out the high. Have to.
Yep. To satisfy the pattern.
It will happen. It will happen.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. Yes.
So anyway, I just wanted to share that, folks, because if you, and I'm going to put myself in this category, if you, like me, got caught maybe unexpectedly at the extent of this sell-off, and to be very frank, at the end of February, we didn't have the adaptive entry system yet. We had an earlier version of it, which was awesome, but the adaptive entry system is way more precise for us. And if you were then caught by surprise at how strong the recovery was, well, there are ways to now take advantage of what may be coming. We're doing a lot of that on a 5-minute by 5-minute chart in the live trading room. But there are ways with Erin, she's going to be identifying crossovers on the Cycle Finder Plus, and you certainly can ride a trade for much longer than just our sweet spot of 80% if you want to. But as options traders or stock investors, there's a way for you to leverage what we feel highly confident is going to take place.
I got another interesting chart if you want to look at it. If you got time, Mark, I don't want to hold us up here.
Go ahead. What is it?
Change to a 5-minute chart.
5-minute?
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to show how valuable it is to be in the live trading room.
Okay, let me get rid of this.
Yeah, you got to do another retracement for me.
Here, hold on a second. I want to do it this way. I'll go back here. Okay, here's
there
5-minute.
Yeah, go to 5-minute.
You want NQ though, right?
Yeah, and can you go back to August the 6th at 10:25 in the morning? No, he doesn't have to do that. I didn't think
August 6th.
10:25.
10:25.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
right
there
here.
you go. There you go. So okay. So this actually happened last week. Well, whenever August the 6th was last week, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's that big move up. But I was beating the table, and I'm not going to tell you my secret because I'm going to give that away. I knew we had to go higher. I knew we did. There's no doubt in my mind. And the only reason I knew that, Mark, if you take they still won't know, as it doesn't matter. You see this bottom right there, the red bar, come to the right here, second red bar, come to the right.
Right here.
Right there. Do a retracement. Just start measuring from there. Yeah. And I'm going to show you why I said that.
Okay, from the bottom of that bar to where?
just keep moving up to the blue line there. Stop right there. Come back down a little bit. Okay. Do you see? So? Everybody was asking, are we going higher? Well, yeah, we have to, because the reason I'm saying we had to. You see where 618 retracement is, Mark? It's overlapping that high back around 1030.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it had to keep going higher. It can't stop there. It had to. If it did stop, then I've got the count wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I had it right. That's textbook right there. So I knew that it couldn't overlap that high at 1030. So it had to keep going higher. That's why I kept saying we have to go higher. Now, when it got to the top up there, you can see 618 was right above that high at 1030. Then I knew then we were probably going to stop, because that's as high as it needed to go. If it did to retrace to 618, the pattern still been valid. That pattern was so textbook that I'd put my life on it that it was going to stop when it got to the top there. Because move it on up to the top, you'll see what I'm talking about, the retracement. Move it all the way to the top, right there. See where 618 is? Right above that 1030 high.
Right here. Yep.
Yeah, I knew it had to go there. There's no doubt in my mind. So if it did stall, I had the pattern wrong. But that's what's so. It isn't me. I paid thousands and thousands of dollars to learn this, but over my last 20, 30 years. But
well, it's an advanced technical competence that Michael has, and everybody in the live trading room benefits from that.
But I was beating the table. It was going there. It had to. Just had to go there. When you hear me say it has to go there,
Load the wagon.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but it's going to go there more than likely. So
one of my favorite expressions of Michael is when he says it has to go there. When I have an adaptive entry system signal, that's when I'm going to widen my 10-point profit target to something bigger based on where his price target is. But
I'm just saying, between the adaptive entry system and the wave counts, you just can't beat it. It's just, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. It's the best thing I've ever seen. So thank you, Mark, for showing that.
Yeah, thank you. So I love this. Bob just said I made my 10 points on the current NQ trade.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Bob, where'd you get filled at? Because I'm watching that, and I was long off of the 5-minute chart, but I just wonder where you got in at to go get 10 points. I'm trying to figure that out. Maybe you must have got a really great fill. Of course, it's got profit and it's back up now, because that entry point was right around 33 to go long on the, yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, you entered late. Okay, I get that. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, Bob.
All right, let's see here. So Mario saying, so you're guaranteeing me putting some money in QQQ puts? No, we don't guarantee anything, and we don't actually have a signal yet on the daily chart. But when the signal comes on, it's probably something you want to pay attention to. So monitor your charts.
But remember, it's a daily chart. It will take it a while. We won't be overnight. Could be, but it won't drop that much, or it could.
All right, and so I think the last comment tonight goes to Michael C. I see that the adaptive entry system is awesome. I know it will work for me live since it absolutely rocks for me in sim. I'm almost there, and these Q&As help a lot. Yeah, that's the right attitude, Michael. Just, you're learning, and it's not second nature to you yet. It's like so many other things that you initially learn, and you're trying to be robotic, but it's not flowing for you yet. It's simple, but you need to make it simple for you. Sim is an excellent way for you to learn. And of course, being in the live trading room, just feel free to ask us questions trade by trade if you need to. We're happy to help you with that. So we're going to close out here. I'm going to leave you with this. If you have an interest in finding out more about the adaptive entry system, about the personal trading plan, the profit sweet spot matrix, and also our options money makers, profit, the options trading program.
The thing.
Come on, Aaron. Profit Builder Plus. I'm so sorry, I drew a blank. Profit Builder Plus is the options trading program. We've got futures trading, education, lots of opportunities. So you can go to the optionsmoneymaker.com/TBP. And also you can go to the newcycletrading.com trade-results in order to view the daily recordings of the end of day live trading room performance review. So thanks for being here, everybody. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Aaron.
Hi,
Y'all
folks.
have a great night.
Sleep well. See you then. Bye-bye.